I was the black sheep who everyone ignored at family gatherings until the day I inherited everything and watched them all come crawling back. For 28 years, I was invisible at every holiday dinner. While my cousins got praise for their mediocre achievements, I could cure cancer, and they'd still ask when I was getting a real job. My Aunt Veronica would literally step around me to hug the person behind me. Uncle Randall would introduce his kids to strangers, but forget I existed entirely. This is my nephew Theo, the doctor, and my daughter Ava, the lawyer. He'd beam at dinner parties, his chest puffed with pride. Then his eyes would slide right past me like I was furniture, even though I was standing right there holding a bottle of wine I'd brought as a hostess gift. Always expensive wine, because I'd learned early that cheap gifts gave them another reason to dismiss me. My crime? I dropped out of law school during my second year to start a tech company. In their minds, I was a failure who'd thrown away a prestigious career to play with computers. The fact that my company, CloudSync Solutions, was thriving and pulling in 7 figures annually meant absolutely nothing to them. I wasn't a lawyer, doctor, or banker, so I didn't exist in their carefully constructed social hierarchy. Quinn's going through a phase, my mother would explain to relatives who asked about my absence from family functions. He'll come to his senses eventually and finish law school. This was 7 years after I'd built my first $1 million client contract. I stopped trying after my college graduation ceremony. I'd earned my master's in computer science while working full-time, maintaining a 4.0 GPA despite pulling 60-hour weeks between my startup and coursework. When I shared the news in the family group chat, accompanied by a photo of me in my cap and gown, it went completely silent. Radio silence for 3 days. Meanwhile, when my cousin Finn got promoted to assistant manager at a coffee shop, a job that paid $12 an hour, it generated 47 congratulations, 3 separate celebration dinner invitations, and a group gift of a gold watch for the successful businessman in the family. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was employing 15 people at that point. At Christmas dinners, I'd sit at the kids' table despite being 28 years old and older than half the adults present. My spot was permanently between my 7-year-old second cousin and the high chair. At weddings, I wasn't included in family photos. They'd literally ask me to step aside so they could get just the family shots, as if my DNA had somehow been revoked. "Could you grab this for us?" they'd ask, handing me their phones like I was the hired photographer. During conversations, they'd talk around me like I was a ghost, discussing my life in third person while I stood right there nursing a beer and wondering why I'd driven 3 hours for this humiliation. "Whatever happened to Quinn?" Aunt Veronica would ask my mother, as if I wasn't sitting 3 feet away at the same dinner table. "Oh, he's still doing that computer thing," Mom would reply dismissively, waving her hand like she was shooing away a fly. "Playing around with websites or something?" My website thing had just landed a contract with a Fortune 500 company, but why let facts interfere with a good narrative? The worst part? I kept showing up anyway, some pathetic part of me still hoping something would change, that maybe this time they'd ask about my life with genuine interest, that maybe this time they'd treat me like I belonged. It never happened. Then grandmother Iris died. I was the only one who visited her weekly at Sunset Manor, a sprawling care facility that smelled like disinfectant and broken dreams. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m.,